It's race day. The famous corkscrew off in the background, the Hill people ready to see another exciting race. Our second race of the afternoon. Our first one was unbelievable. And welcome to the MotoAmerica Super Hooligans. It's actually, I think, officially known as the Roland Sands Super Hooligans. And there's a lot of hooligans out there on the track, and there might be a hooligan or two out there watching on the track. I'm Robbie Floyd, joined by Roger Hayden and the one and only Roland Sands. Roland, welcome. You are the namesake to this class, and you said something funny to me just before we came on camera. Say that same quote again.
You know, we got a bunch of hooligans on the track today, as you say, and there's probably more neck tattoos on this grid than any other road race grid in history.
No doubt, no doubt. In a talented field, everyone from a guy who just literally came off the track in a stock 1000 bike and Andy DeBrino to maybe a KTM boss and Chris Fillmore, a guy who's going to be in the Mission King of the Baggers, Frankie Garcia, David Kolstad, who's running 2 classes this week, Patricia Fernandez, the lady that's going to be on the second row, Corey West. I mean, you look at this, EB, Eric Bostrom in there. This is a talented field and a fun field. Yeah,
this is a really cool group of guys on a very diverse type of motorcycles. We got KTMs. We have Harleys and Indians and Ducatis and Aprilias, and quite a disparity in displacement as well. You know, you got a KTM 890 out there, Duke, and a FTR 1200s, and we got Milwaukee 8 Harley Davidsons. There's Sportsters on the grid, XR 1200s, a little bit of everything.
Looking at Eric Bostrom there, back a little bit wider than the state he's used to riding around here at Laguna Seca. But I mean, the same can be said even for these guys who are used to riding the hooligan bikes or the Super Hooligans. They're used to a different track. The time that I saw it was at Utah last year at one of the Nitro Circus events. It seemed like they're like kidney-shaped tracks, right? And real small. At most, you grab one gear.
A lot of times they're racing on dirt tracks predominantly and short tracks, and yeah, they're not even getting out of first gear, but these guys are muscling these heavy bikes around these small racetracks, and we thought it was time to get them out on a bigger track and let these bikes breathe, you know, and use the entire gearbox for a change.
What about like club races or anything like that, or is this the very first race that these guys on these bikes have been to a big road race track?
There was a race out at in Utah. We did Utah Motorsports Park a few weeks ago. A lot of these guys obviously have raced. Eric Bostrom's, you know, a past national championship winners. So these guys have it's a diverse group of experience and talent. Some of them are motorcycle stunt guys, and they ride Harley V-twin stunt things, and they do all types of different things, flat track. But these guys, some of them you're seeing maybe their second race. You know, and we're going to see the disparity in speed with some of these guys. But a lot of these guys, this is their first time at Laguna Seca. They're getting to live a dream of theirs, actually, to get on this racetrack, to go out and go fast. It's like the first time I was here at Laguna Seca. I'm sure you remember your first time, Robbie.
And I was just telling, you know, Robbie after the, you know, Travis Wyman winning that stock 1000 race, just what it feels like to not only ride this track, but to come here and do well or win. It gives you a different feeling than a lot of the other places.
As we take a look at our Super Hooligans starting grid. Again, Andy DeBrino on top, Chris Fillmore, Frankie Garcia, who's going to get that start. It had been back and forth between Fillmore and DeBrino. You see Patricia Fernandez, the young lady there in the middle of that second row. But at the morning warm-up this morning, they had a 15-minute session. I believe it was Chris Fillmore, but it was actually faster than Andy DeBrino. So this could get good. A lot of part-time racers, especially you look there at Eric Bostrom, former AMA rider that has spent many a laps around Laguna Seca. Again, find your favorite as we work our way through the field. The question still yet to be asked, when are we going to see Roger Hayden possibly in a Super Hooligan race?
I'm not sure. Might be a while.
You kind of got to weigh it out. Is it baggers or Super Hooligan these days? You know, jump on something diverse.
I need to try them both out and see which one I'm faster on.
I think you'd have a little more flow on the Super Hooligan. I could be wrong, but I think they would probably suit your style a little bit more. One rider having a problem and having to re-enter the track. What is that, a Sportster? I mean, look at that thing. You take it off, and I'm like,
that's definitely that's a Harley. So he's practicing his flat track
Oh
already.
man,
he's getting ready for round 2 in Salem.
I mean to tell you.
He's got his foot down.
Little dust on the tires. The 951, a Clay Braun out of Riverside. Harley Davidson Lowrider S is what it is, the bike. Experiencing some technical difficulties, it looks like, possibly.
You know what's wild about this class? You got Andy DeBrino on a KTM 890 Duke, qualified about the same time as Tyler O'Hare yesterday on a bagger.
What?
Yeah.
And also
Both in the 32s.
And almost the same lap times as the guys in the Twins Cup.
Race bikes. I mean,
insane.
full-on race bikes, typically, they would be out there. All right, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, that's the home. Andy DeBrino is on pole. Let's see if that 62 gets a good start. Chris Fillmore knows how to get good starts, and he does, but look at the 29 of David Kolstad running it up from there hard.
Yeah, DeBrino out to an early lead in front of Chris Fillmore. Kolstad finished third in his singles race earlier.
And we've seen him. He's been aggressive all weekend in the, doing the Junior Cup races. So he's definitely a guy who's not afraid to stick his nose in there.
I look at the field, and it shows 26 that signed up to race this. Roger, even though it is an 8-lap race. Whoa, flat track Willie on the outside there. You talked about having some dirt track action. We're seeing it here today.
Yeah, it takes all types in Super Hooligans. You got to have all types of different talent on different surfaces, and sometimes you got to practice flat tracking at the road race, whatever it takes to stay on the track.
Oh, you never want to stop, drop, and roll and have to crawl off. And
was that DeBrino off the track?
I don't think so. Yeah, there were only 2.
I don't believe so.
No.
Yeah, but there were only 2 going up that hill.
Yeah.
So it had to be Kolstad or DeBrino. I thought I saw which one of the 3, DeBrino, Kolstad, or Fillmore, wasn't in that mix. And either way, let's find out this rider.
Oh, I think that's Stace Richmond on the 26. And
man,
what a save by Stace Richmond.
And that rider, the stop, drop, and roll, going to need some ibuprofen and a chiropractic adjustment. We'll see what happened. Yeah.
I hope he stretched before the race.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it is DeBrino and Fillmore. What happened to David Kolstad? I knew I only saw 2 going up the hill. What happened to David Kolstad? Where is he right now? Kolstad, the 29, was in 3rd. And nobody is in the picture in 3rd right now.
Wow, these guys are building a quick gap. Those KTM 890s they're definitely getting it done here at Laguna Seca. Those are built for road racing.
Yeah, and we've talked about earlier today the KTM in the junior class and how it's nimble. These bikes look a little more nimble, say, than some of the Harleys or Indians. We have an Aprilia of Corey West out there as well.
We got 2 KTMs with DeBrino and Fillmore, and then Garcia, Kolstad, and Fernandez are all on Indian FTR 1200s. So they're going to be battling for that last podium spot, it looks like. Well, we got DeBrino and Fillmore out in the lead.
And if that's Garcia, I mean, he's kind of running a lonely race in 3rd. He's hoping these guys go back and forth. And, Chris Fillmore, he's been a long-time racer, now running the KTM program here for road racing in North America. So, man,
Frankie,
getting loose.
You get in there hot. He's using those flat track skills.
Yeah, having that caboose come around on him just a little bit. But I think Fillmore and DeBrino know that, especially after that first lap, and they'll see that +2, +3, that as long as they stay together, they keep this pace. It'll be hard for Frankie to do anything.
Well, I don't think Fillmore's going to give up chasing DeBrino down, that's for sure.
No, but I think his objective, and maybe until the end, is to stay close to him and see what he's doing and find that way to make a pass. There's Patricia Fernandez, our lady in the field. She started 5th. She's running 5th right now, but a strong 5th. You see the 13 just behind of Corey West on the Aprilia, a Ducati just behind as well, and Corey Jones.
That's actually her boyfriend behind her, Corey West.
It's her fiance. Yeah.
That's what you need right there. You need to beat the man.
Eric Bostrom in 10th, I think. Eric, maybe Anthony Salima's the fastest air-cooled bike on the field, followed by Eric Bostrom in 10th place. Eric's riding an Indian Chief, and this bike started life as a 650-pound cruiser with high bars and ape hangers.
Made a lot of changes. He probably rode it as a street bike before it ever made it here. He probably rode that bike knowing Eric. I wouldn't doubt it. Salima, you mentioned the air-cooled bike in 8th right now on the number 1. That's a Harley-Davidson power plant. Nose to tail, Andy DeBrino and Chris Fillmore as they head up to the corkscrew on lap number 3 of 8. Andy DeBrino actually not just racing 2, but 3 classes here this weekend.
Fillmore missed a shift there.
Yeah, he's going to lose a little bit of ground. We'll see if he can close back in. But DeBrino running the Stock 1000s, the Super Hooligans, and he also comes back for the Honos Superbike Cup with the Honos Superbike riders.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's got more laps around this place this weekend than probably anybody else.
Yeah, today, I mean, he already ran a feature just 20 minutes ago. and was battling for the lead. Right now he is in the lead on that KTM Duke. Best time a 1:32.8. The best time for Chris Fillmore back in second was a 1:33.14. The previous lap though, Roger, Fillmore was turning overall best sectors until he had that big moment.
Yeah, you can just see that he's pushing even now after making that mistake. You can see how hard he's pushing right now to try to close back up.
And as a part-time rider, I asked, hey, when was the last time he rode? He actually won the AMA Supermoto Championship last year. And that's when I know Chris Fillmore. I knew him when I was announcing AMA Supermoto back in 2004, 5, 6, somewhere in that range. And he was a teenager. He was just like yourself. At 16 years old, he became a professional. He was a motocross racer, a road racer, a supermoto racer, and he has the skills back in second. There's the 87 of Fernandez, the 13 of West, Corey Jones in the 791. All three of those riders trying to get up there and hold on to that 5th spot.
Yeah, Wes is on an Aprilia, Duro, I believe.
We've seen
Aprilia twin. He's a little bit outgunned. He's got, he's getting followed up by that Ducati Hyper Motard, and you can see he might be pulling him a little bit on the straights. But Corey's obviously no slouch.
We're also noticing maybe a little flat track action, trying to grab the forks and drop on down there, Roger. I don't know that's going to help him much here at Laguna Seca.
No, not much, but you can see him being a little bit down top speed, so he's trying to get a little more aerodynamic.
That green's supposed to be simulated grass, and I'd say he got ran into the grass right there.
We might see a little Rossi Casey Stoner
you think
action
so?
there in the corkscrew later. I hope so.
I mean, why not a little prop down there and cut across those angles?
That last lap, Chris Fillmore with the fastest lap of the race.
32.2. Compare that to the 32.8 is the best lap of Andy Brino. So I think Fillmore's got a little in the tank, but as I was saying, he's a part-time rider. He's got a professional job with KTM, but it's hard to take the racer out of Chris Fillmore.
No, and he was the guy that I raced with a long time ago, really fast super sport guy.
Yeah.
Raced for factory KTM and Superbike and did quite well.
I told him I was proud of him because, I just still remembered him as that teenager and kind of unassuming, kind of quiet. Now he's got a nice professional job. He's doing better than both of us right now. I mean, we're having to sit here and call racing. He's still getting to go race for fun every now and then.
He's riding his boss's bike.
No kidding.
That's John Hines' bike.
Nice.
I don't even know if John knows that Chris is on his motorcycle this weekend. Oh, we got some lappers.
Yeah, the lapper caused a little bit of an issue there. The 66 running some deflection, and we've got a lead change. Taking advantage of it. Hey, Sean Guardado got in the way, and there come Chris Fillmore. DeBrino really didn't know what to do, Roger.
No, DeBrino was definitely really patient through there and kind of got pinched off, but Chris Fillmore played it perfect. You could kind of see when they were getting in there, he laid back a little bit and really got it rolling.
We talked about this happening. There's quite a disparity in speed between some of these guys. And Chris told me this morning, he says, hey, I don't want to take any unneeded chances if I'm coming by some of these guys at high speed. And he said he was going to take his time. I think he's getting through the field pretty quick, though.
That all changes when the lights go out and the race starts.
Yeah, this was a close one. They're splitting Sean Guardado right there.
And Guardado in that instance was kind of going middle of the road, right, Roger? So you either pick the right way or the wrong way.
He wasn't doing anything wrong.
No.
He held his line, and whenever you're passing somebody, it's your job to get by.
That was a KTM live wire sandwich.
Yes, it was. And in that case, there goes DeBrino now for the lead again. DeBrino made the wrong choice. Fillmore made the right one, but now doing the right thing is Andy DeBrino, the 62, moving back up there again. The 62, Andy DeBrino from Oregon on the KTM 890 Duke R. He's sponsored by the Ridge Motorsports Park. Good draft, it looked like that time by Chris Fillmore. I don't know if DeBrino might have a little more under the hood, because I thought I would have seen Fillmore close in a little bit more there. Good run down through a rainy curve. A couple of turns to go, a right. Then the left at the finish.
Now, I don't think we're going to be done with the lappers either these last couple laps.
No, I think you're right. Again, there were 26 entries in the Roland Sands Super Hooligan. And Roland, with the 2 laps to go, who do you think looks the best? Who do you think is going to come across the stripe first? Your personal opinion after what you've seen so far.
I know Andy DeBrino is such a fierce competitor, and he's going to give it every ounce of effort to try and stay in front of Chris across the line the last lap. And You know, I know Chris is competitive as well, so that's kind of a toss-up, really.
And Roger?
I don't know. I think Andy DeBrino is still a little bit of a younger guy. Chris Fillmore's closer to my age, so I don't think he's going to take as many risks as Andy DeBrino will.
I think that's where it's going to come down, the risk factor. Fillmore's going to put it in there. He's going to run it in once or twice right here using the lappers.
And Fillmore's got to go to work in the morning, so he has to be kind of careful.
That's what I say. It's going to come down to the risk factor and making that right decision. You see that entry of DeBrino going tight. Fillmore goes outside again. But that time, you know, DeBrino really didn't have to back off too much, but you're seeing a really good drive out of Fillmore. We saw that yesterday in the Twins Cup. One rider going to the outside. You're going, thank you, Lord, for not running me into the weeds. And again, it chokes down into the corkscrew. They catch them at the wrong time or the right time. It just depends.
Yeah, these lappers are definitely going to play into the finishing order. I think of these two guys, you know, they both got to really play it smart every single corner when they're coming by these guys, you know, carrying probably an extra 10 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour.
And what I'm seeing out of Chris Fillmore, you could tell he's been a racer for many years. He's looking way ahead, Roger. He's setting them up.
He looks really comfortable too, so.
P1 plus 0. That means you got nothing, Andy DeBrino. You got nothing to work with. The boss man in the back pocket. Let's find out this final lap. The Roland Sands Super Hooligans. Andy DeBrino leads Chris Fillmore. They've got quite an advantage over David Kolstad back in third. He's still like over 10 to 15 seconds behind. Who's going to win out of these two?
Kolstad got by Garcia. There we go. Those guys are scrapping around a little bit.
They're some 20 seconds behind. Andy DeBrino, the 62 out of Oregon.
You can see Fillmore's body language is getting a little more aggressive this last lap.
A racier body. You see a blip of the throttle going into that left-hand turn. Right around here, though, it seems like DeBrino always seems to have a little bit more, a little something extra. Even though Fillmore, you would think, would kind of get into that draft and have a little bit more drive, I never really see that coming up to the corkscrew.
And he's got a little bit on him coming up. He's running out of options. Chris has got to make a move here in the next few corners.
We know the last turn's going to be an option, and can he make it happen? Or does Fillmore have to make that push before he gets there, Roger?
No, I think he's going to have to get closer, though, but get a good run through here, rainy curve. Get a really good drive out of this next right-hander as he's doing, set up wide to get on the inside in this last corner.
Hard on, good press. He was outside driving. He's going to be on that rear fender. Look at him going to the inside. Chris Fillmore on the 11. Flat track Willie going to that inside. But will he get the drive? DeBrino's going to have that wide line and a lot of momentum coming up that front straightaway. The 11 of Chris Fillmore. The 62 of DeBrino. It's Fillmore to the line by 45 thousandths of a second.
Wow.
Now the race to the finish is that the 14 of Frankie Garcia trying to close in on David Kolstad. We see one lap rider just in front of them. I think this is Kolstad's race. Frankie Garcia showing you the power of that Indian, but he's going to follow the Indian of David Kolstad. The final spot on that podium. Wow, what a run there as they come across the stripe. Again, 22 seconds behind Chris Fillmore, and they're still filling out the final spots. Fifth place should be Patricia Fernandez. Can she hold on over Corey Jones and Corey West as they will still finish up their run? DeBrino, and there's Fillmore. What? Hey, you were right. I mean, it took it down to the very end, but the racecraft of Fillmore, it shows he's still got it, Raj.
He set him up perfect, though. We got that, was wide into turn 10, carried his momentum, and had the line here in the last corner.
I love the confidence out of Fillmore right here. Watch this bike working underneath him. Look at him just letting that back in, get a little free. And sometimes it could cost you choking it down so hard. DeBrino got a good run. It just wasn't quite enough. Look at this.
You got to appreciate the racecraft from Fillmore. I mean, you see a lot of experience coming in. He really didn't take any unnecessary chances, and he really saved it to the end right where he needed to in turn 11.
To the stripe, it was about a half a bike, maybe even a full bike victory for Chris Fillmore. Our second photo finish of the day in as many races. Roland, I know you've got to take care of some duties with the Mission King of the Baggers, but it was good having you up here in the booth, and I'd say the Roland Sands Super Hooligans were quite a success.
Right, guys, appreciate it. We have a good time, and thanks everybody watching on Facebook Live and on MotoAmerica Plus.
We'll be back with more in the victory podium here in just a bit.